What if every deal you closed automatically led to more opportunities without starting from zero every time? Right now, most MSPs are stuck in a cycle. You close a deal, you onboard the client, then you move on. Back to prospecting, back to chasing new conversations, back to building trust from scratch. And that cycle repeats over and over again. It works, but it's slow. Every new deal requires the same effort, new outreach, new conversations, new trust. Nothing compounds. Nothing builds on itself. So growth becomes linear, one deal at a time. And over time, that becomes exhausting because no matter how hard you push, you are always starting over. And here's what most MSPs miss. A closed deal is not the finish line. It's a starting point because every client you bring on represents multiple opportunities, additional services they have not considered, gaps in their current environment, areas where risk still exists, people in their network who have the same problems, but none of that happens automatically. Because if you do not have a system in place, these opportunities, they stay hidden. The client gets onboarded, things stabilize, and the relationship stays surface level. Now you're delivering service, but not expanding value. And that means you're leaving growth on the table. Not because the opportunity is not there, but because there's no structure to uncover it. The MSPs that grow faster do this differently. They do not treat a new client like a completed deal. They treat it like the beginning of a chain reaction. They have a process for identifying what else the client needs, not randomly, not occasionally, consistently. They look for gaps, they look for risks, they look for areas where the business can improve. They bring those opportunities forward. They have a process for referrals, not awkward asks, not one-off conversations, a structured way to turn one relationship into multiple introductions. Because when a client sees value, they're connected to other businesses that need the same thing. But without a system, that connection never gets activated. So growth stays limited to your own effort. Instead of expanding through your existing clients, this is where the shift happens. When you stop treating deals as isolated wins, you start treating them as expansion points. Now everything compounds. One deal leads to another. That deal leads to one more. And over time, growth accelerates. Not because you're doing more outreach, but because your existing relationships are producing more opportunities. And that is how high-performing MSPs scale faster. They don't just close deals, they multiply them. But this only works if there is structure behind it. You need a clear way to identify expansion, a clear way to introduce additional value, a clear way to generate referrals consistently. Without that, you are relying on chance, and chance does not scale. So if your growth feels like it's a reset after every deal, if you're constantly chasing new opportunities, if your existing clients are not generating additional revenue, that is a signal. Not to push harder on new business, but to build a system that expands the business you already have. Because once that's in place, growth stops being linear and starts compounding. If you want to see how to turn one deal into multiple opportunities inside a real MSP, you can take a closer look at the CharTec Academy or walk through it on a call. Sometimes unlocking growth is not about more leads. It's about doing more with the ones you already have. And in the final video, we are going to bring everything together and show you what this looks like when the entire system is working as one.